What am I talking about? Porn. So when my daughter was around 2 and a half, her cousin brother was chasing her. Where do babies come from? I have created a very simple guide. Here's something what parents don't realize. The average age of exposure to pornography is just 11. And in many cases, kids are exposed to it way earlier. Yet, most parents haven't even had a single conversation about the child's safety, bodies, consent, privacy. In this video, particularly for parents who have children of the ages between 2 to 8, I will show you how to have these conversations in a very simple and age appropriate way so that your child can trust you instead of the internet. Hi, my name is Dipti. I'm an engineer turned teacher turned therapist, and I help parents raise emotionally resilient children. I know these conversations can feel very awkward, especially if you have never had these conversations growing up and you had to figure it out all on your own. But here's the thing, if your children don't learn about these things from you, then they are going to learn about it from either peers or worse, from screen. And you and I, we both know how screens are not the most safest places for our children. And when I recommend parents to start having these conversations early on, they come back to me and tell me, Dipti, I'm not comfortable talking to my so young child so early on about these things. I understand. It feels very uncomfortable to bring up the topic of privacy, body safety, body parts, and talk to your 3-year-old. But starting early makes these conversations feel normal and not scary. And let's face it, the internet is already talking to our kids, but we need our voices to be louder than that of the internet. And that is exactly why I have made this video. I have divided this video into 2 sections. The first section will be about what we need to introduce to the ages of 2 to 5, and the second section, it will be for 6 to 8. For children between the ages of 2 to 5, we introduce the concept of body safety. The first thing that we teach our children is the correct names for their body parts. Don't call their private parts as pee-pee, susu or bum-bum. Instead, use the right words. Vagina, penis, breasts, just like how you would introduce their face, their fingers, their knees, arms. We need to be able to name these parts and teach our children about the names of their body parts. When we use silly names, the message that we are sending to our children is that they need to be shameful about their private parts. We want our children to feel confident and clear about their bodies. When we remove the shame, what we are doing is we're opening the path, we are opening the conversations that our children can have with us, the trust that they can have in us, to lead them, to guide them in the long run. The second thing to teach your 2 to 5-year-old is privacy. Again, privacy which is age appropriate to them. So the easiest way to talk about private parts is the swimsuit rule. You can say your swimsuit covers your private parts and no one is allowed to see them or touch them without mom or dad being there to help you. And you also are not supposed to go around asking people to show their private parts or asking them to allow you to touch their private parts. Very simple, clear boundary. And you keep reiterating it over the time so that the message is clear to the child. The third thing to teach our children is consent in everyday life. Consent in this age is basically related to their day-to-day interaction. If they don't like to be hugged or they don't want to be kissed, we allow them to say no and we accept that no, because in the long run, if they ever get the feeling that this is not right, something is wrong about this situation and I want to get out of it, they should know to trust their instincts, right? Let me give you a small example. So when my daughter was around 2 and a half, her cousin brother was chasing her with a feather and trying to tickle her. Unfortunately, I wasn't there to intervene. Later, I heard from others that she was crying and she was running away, and she came to me and complained also. So I taught her a simple word, no. If you don't want somebody to do something to you, you say no. And I also taught her how to say that no, you have to increase your voice. If the other person doesn't listen to your no or doesn't accept your no, you raise your voice and you say no in a loud voice. Fast forward to 4-5 years, now she's 7 years old and her brother is 4. They were in the play area and two elder kids, around 7.5, they came up to my younger one, my 4-year-old, and they were physically pulling him to do something that he didn't want to do. So he was kind of on the verge of crying and he was saying no, but they were physically stronger, so he couldn't get out of it. So my daughter stepped in and she initially tried to have a dialogue, which didn't work out. So then she used her no voice. In her loudest, screechiest voice, she said no. And the boys, they were taken aback. So they left him and they walked away. So you understand that these are skills we teach them so that they know they can say no and they can get out of a situation. Some kids are intuitively very good at this. They know that this is not for me, this is something that I will not be doing. They are better at putting boundaries. Moving on to ages 5 to 8. For children of this age group, age bracket, we teach them curiosity and basic reproduction. This is when the kids ask the famous question, where do babies come from? And that is when our parents become extremely uncomfortable and they start thinking that they have to give a biology lesson. But no, we will keep it very simple and we'll also keep ourselves very calm. You tell them, when a sperm from a man joins an egg from a woman, it grows into a baby inside the uterus. That is all the information they need to know at this point of time. But some kids will come back with a follow-up question of, how did the sperm and the egg meet? And what do you do? Again, keep calm and we continue. So this script is for little older kids. There is a special kind of touch called sex, which happens between grown-ups when they love each other and when they decide they want to have a baby. So you have given them a truthful, age-appropriate and not an overwhelming answer. At this age, kids don't want the full manual. They just want their curiosity, basic curiosity, to be satisfied. One book that I recommend for parents of children between the ages of 4 to 8 is this one. It's called It's Not the Stock. It is a great book. I'm not going to go deep into why it's great, but it covers almost all the topics that I've spoken about in today's video. It's a great handbook to have in every house to deal with any kind of questions. And finally, for both the age groups from 2 to 8, we teach them about media safety. There are children who are watching YouTube shorts or reels and we don't know what they might be seeing. And yes, they sometimes stumble upon things that they should not be seeing. And we need to prepare them without scaring them for those kind of situations. What am I talking about? Porn. So how do we talk to our children about such things? Sometimes there are pictures or videos of bodies of people which are not real or respectful. If you ever see something like that, even by accident, please come and tell Amma about it. You are not going to get in trouble. The last part, you are not in trouble, is the most important thing because they will feel safe to come and have that conversation with you. What if your child has already seen something and they are scared and they are coming and telling you? How do you react? Number one, again, we stay calm. And then we tell them, I'm glad that you came to me. Please know that real relationship between people is built on trust, respect, care and kindness. But these photos or videos, they don't show real love or respect. If you see something like that ever again, close it or switch it off immediately. And then come tell me, and together we will figure it out. And let's be honest, most of these accidental exposures, they happen because of screen. If you're struggling with screen battles at home, I have put together a free guide called 5 Simple Steps to End Screen Time Without Any Tantrums. It's totally free and I've linked it below this video. You can go ahead and download it. Dipti, I don't want to talk about these things to my children. What can go wrong? When parents avoid these talks, kids often feel shame or fear to start having these conversations or these questions. They come to you and ask you, why is the fan revolving, or Why is the plant green? And you are very comfortable talking about those topics. But when it comes to our bodies, their privacy, their safety, most of the adults are not very comfortable with these talks. But I would say that's how myths, confusion, and unsafe behaviors they start when they don't have this information. When we stay silent, we are outsourcing our parenting to internet. And all this isn't just theory. Research across India shows that the earlier the child receives age-appropriate sexual health education, they are more likely to delay sexual relationships, treat relationships with respect, and use protection. In other words, when we start early, we protect our children later. Most parents wait until it's too late, and children would have already learned things from their peers. Learning from peers per se is not the problem. But what if they are learning disrespectful stuff from their friends or some relatives or some influencer? We don't know. So don't let that be the story in your life. Instead, start early, start small, but just start. Thanks for all those who stayed till the end. I have created a very simple guide which has all these conversations that you can have with your child. You can go ahead, download it. I'll link it down below this video. It's totally free. You can practice it and then go ahead and have these conversations with your children. In the next video, I will walk you through the ages 9 to 8 about how to introduce or have these conversations about puberty, consent, porn, and real relationships. I'll see you there later. That's all for now. Thank you from Everything Parenting with Dipti.